By Zoom. I'm on the other side of town for Shabbos. So I'm
Okay,
9 o'clock by Zoom.
okay. Oh, Mazel Tov on the naming of your granddaughter, like your mother, right?
Rachel Leah, correct. Well, Rachel after my mother and Leah after Susie's mother.
Oh, that I was thinking. I said maybe that's what it is. Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
My mother was Rachel Bas Chanoch.
Yeah.
She didn't have a middle name, but Susie's mother doesn't have
Leah.
didn't have a name either. So Rachel Leah.
Very nice.
Is that the first one for Leah?
I think it might be, yeah.
Wow. Even on the other side, right? Even the other.
Well, Amanda and Rebecca.
What about Jerry's children? Do they have any children? Any grandchildren?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know yet. I don't know. Maybe there's another Leah. I don't know.
Okay, good. Beautiful.
There's a stick of Leah on our side.
Mazel tov. Beautiful.
Mazel Tov.
Mazel tov. You daven by, is that Young Israel? Is that where you get daven?
There's a bar mitzvah, yeah, at Young Israel Century City.
The Young Israel, yeah. I mean, Israel on Pico, right? Young Israel Pico, that's where you daven?
Well, I normally daven with my son-in-law at the West Side Minyan. But Avi Reisman's making a bas mitzvah and they asked me to come. So that's at Young Israel Century City. I think she's going to see after davening. Okay. So, Vatitzena, the last line of Mem Vav Amud Beis. Vatitzena Shteim Dubim in Ayar. 2 bears came out of the forest. Vativkana mehem arba'im u'shnei eladim, and they, between the 2 of them, they destroyed 42 children.
Wow.
Ravu Shmuel Chadamar Nes. It was a miracle. Chadamar Nes betoch Nes. A miracle within a miracle. Mandamar Nes. Yarhav, Bedubim Lav. There was a forest there, but there were no bears. So the nace occurred that the bears were brought there. They were created. Mandar nace betoch nace means lo yarhav, lo dubim hav. There was no forest and no bears. So the Gemara says, why do you need a forest? Just create the bears. What do you need a forest for? To be easy. Because bears are afraid when they're in an open area. They like to be in a shielded area. Because of the 42 korbanos that Balak offered with Bilam, that because he made a klala. So it ended up these 42 children were lost because of the korbanos that Balak brought. The Gemara says, Aini, it's not so. Person should do Torah and do mitzvahs, even if he's doing it shalol lishma. Shemitach shalol lishma bal lishma. Where do we see a raya for this? Shebischar arboim u'shnayim karbon shikri bolak melech Moav zacha v'yatzasa mimenu ruas. It means he got a bracha because of these korbanos. That Rus, who was descended from him, and Yatsa mimenu shlomo shekasuv bei elef oilas yala shlomo, because eventually shlomo, we just learned that in Malachim, or we're gonna that Shlomo HaMelech offered 1,000 oilas. V'amar Rav Yosef ben Choni Rus bito shel Eglon b'no shel Balak Haisa. Eglon was the son of Balak, Rus was the daughter of Eglon, so Rus was the granddaughter of Balak. But his desire was to curse. So both things happened, bracha and a klala. Vayomru anshe ha'ir lalisha hinena moshav ha'ir tov kasher adoni ro'eh. Here in this place, it's a good place to dwell, but the water is bad. How could they describe it as a good place if it has bad land and bad water? The people who lived there was a certain chen, a certain charm. People have a close feeling to where they live. The charm of a place to the people who live there. The charm of a person's wife. When a person buys something, there's a certain chen that he has for the object. Walter, tomorrow we're going to learn at 9:00 by Zoom, because I'm not going to be in shul. I'm going to be on the other side of town. So we're going to learn at 9:00. Torah Rabbana. Shloisha chaloin chala Elisha. Elisha got sick 3 times. Echad shagira dubim betinoikos. It was a punishment for the bears incident. Echad shadachva legechazi b'shtei yadayim. He pushed away Gechazi with 2 hands. And the echad shemeisbo, in the final illness that he died. Shenema. Velisha chala eschoyev asher yamusbo. That eventually he came down with an illness that he didn't recover from. Torah Rabbana. La'olam te small doichav yamin mekarevet. Sometimes you have a student that you have to push away, but you should push away with your left and bring him close with your right. Lo ke Elisha shadachva legechazi b'shtei yadav. Elisha pushed away his Talmud Gechazi with 2 hands. The lo ke Yeshua ben Prachya shadachva leyeshu anotzri b'shtei yadav. Yeshua ben Prachya pushed away Yeshu anotzri with 2 hands, and that was a bad thing. Elisha Mai, what's the story of Elisha? Tachsid. Vayomer Naaman hoyel kach kikorim. Naaman told Gechazi, take these loaves. Vayomer Elav, lo libi alach kasher hofach Ishmael markavto likvasecha, ha'etz lakach zakefes, lakach zbadim v'zeisim v'chromim v'tzon v'vokar v'avomer shvachos. So, umi shakal kulahai. He didn't take all those things. Kesef u'godim, he only took kesef u'godim. Amar Yitzchak. Bo'is Shaya Elisha oisek b'shmona shvatzim. Elisha was studying the sugya of the Shmona Shvatzim. Amala Russia. Higia eitz lito par Shmona Shvatzim. Now's the time to get the schar for the limud. So he got 8 different gifts as a reward for studying the sugya of Shmona Shvatzim. Vitzaras naman tidbak v'chav zerach eloila. Elisha cursed Gechazi that he should have tzaras, him and all of his generations. That's why it says later on in Malachim, there were 4 mitzvahim at the gate. Vayavo Elisha Damasek. Lama halach. Why did he go to Damasek? He tried to get Gechazi to be about tshuva, but it didn't work. Amelo chazar b'cha. Elisha told Gechazi, do tshuva. Amelo, tach mikublani mimcha. I received from you. Speaking beyond tshuva. Whoever sins and causes others to sin, he cannot get tshuva. My avad. What did Gechazi do to cause other people to sin. Ikedi Amri, Evan Shoevis Tolol Lachatas Yeravam, the Mida ben Shemaim Laretz. Yeravam ben Nevat had placed a calf for people to worship. So Gehazi put some kind of stone there that caused the egel to be suspended between heaven and earth. So everyone thought that there's some magic in this egel, so they worshipped it. He put a Shem Hashem in the mouth. This idol would say Anoichi Hashem Lokecha and Lo Yelecha. He was like the shamus for Elisha, and he didn't allow the Rabbanim to come visit him. Let's see, Vayamru bnei Anavim el Elisha. The place that we're sitting is a narrow place. Up until now, the place was not tight. Because when Gehazi was there, he pushed everyone out. So it always seemed like there was a lot of room. Yoshua ben Pracha Mayhari. What's the story of Yoshua ben Pracha? Kidavaka Kotel Yanai Malkil Rabbono. Yanai, the Melech, was a Hashmonai king who was a Russia, and he killed all the Chachamim. Shimon ben Shetach Atminu Achte. The wife of Yanai Melech was the sister of Shimon ben Shetach. But Rabbi Shimon ben Prachya, so the sister protected Shimon ben Shetach. But Rabbi Shimon ben Prachya, who was one of the Zugos, with Shimon ben Shetach, had to run away. Ozal Arak Lachzandria Shal Mitzrayim ran to Alexandria. Now, later on, there was peace between Yanai Melech and the Chachamim. Yavashal Mashalach le Shimon ben Shetach. They sent a message. Shimon ben Shetach sent a message to Rav Yeshua, Mini Yerushalayim Ira Kodesh, Lach Alexandria Shal Mitzrayim. Achoisi, Vali Shori Besochech, Vani Yoshev Shemema. The hint was that my husband is inside, and I am lonely because I don't have you as my chaver. So he figured it's now safe to come back. Ki asa, when he was traveling, ushpiza. He stopped at a certain inn. Kam kamayu bikara shapir. Avi la yikara tuva. He showed them kavod, and they did kavod for him. Yosef kamishtabev. So Yoshua ben Prachya was praising them. How nice this hotel is. Omer le Yeshua Notzri, Rebbe Eine Trutois. This was a female innkeeper, and Yeshua Notzri, who was one of the Talmidim of Yoshua ben Pracha, said, yeah, but her eyes has a lot of tears. So, Amarle Russia, what are you looking at women for? Apik Arba Mer Shipur Vishamte. They took out 400 shofars, they blew shofar and they put them into cherem. Yeshua Notzri. Yom Echad HaKakoris Kriyashma. So one day, Yoshua ben Pracha was davening Kriyashma. Osla Kamei. Every day, Yeshua Notzri tried to come to ask forgiveness. On this day, Yoshua was going to accept him. But he was davening, he couldn't be mafsik. So he told him like this, wait, with his hand. Wait. Achvile biyode. Sover midcha dochile. But Yeshu thought he was pushing him away. Ozel zakav lebeinte placha. He built an avodah zarah. Amalei chazor b'cha. So Yoshua and Brachi told Yeshu to do tshuva. Amalei tach mikubladim imcha. Kol achoytu machtis harabim. Ema speaking biyode lasses tshuva. Whoever is machti the rabbim can't do tshuva. Mar. Yeshu anoitzri kishiv. He was a witchcraft, vehesis, v'diach. He caused people to worship avodah zarah. V'hechtis Yisrael. Tani Reb Shimon Elazar Omer Yetzer, Tinok v'isha. Your Yetzer hara, a child and a woman. They small doiche v'yamin mekareves. You push away with left, but you bring them close with the right. Otherwise, it could lead to damage. We got a lot of damage from Yeshua Notzri. Mishnah. They only do the egla rufa if it's in doubt who was the murderer. If the murderer is found and they've already designated the animal, they can go into the herd. Mishanerfa egla, if they've already chopped the head off and then they find the murder, they don't complete the ceremony. Tikover bimkom gets buried there. Shal sofik boisa mechilasa. It's brought also doubt. Once they found who the rotzech is, there's no sofik anymore, and there's no point in doing the egla rufa process. Nerfa egla v'achakach nimtza hoyreg. They did the egla, and then the murder was found. That's not a kapora for the murder. Bezdin still puts him to death. It's not that the act of the egla rufa does some kind of atonement for the murderer. Aid echad omer ra'isi sahoyrek. One aid says, "I saw the murderer." The aid echad omer lo ra'isi. Isha oimeres ra'isi. One woman says, "I saw." The Isha oimeres lo ra'isi. So this doesn't sway us. The doubt remains because one aid opposed the other aid. So how you orphan? So they went through the egla rufa. If there's no edus brura, who the rotzech is, you bring the egel for suffix. Similarly, Eid echad oimer ra'isi. One aid says, "I saw the murderer." Ushnai oimer lo ra'isi. No, you didn't see it. Are you orphan? Because there's no edus that there was a murderer. However, shnayim oimer ra'inu, the echad oimer lo ra'isi. Law, you orphan. You have two solid witnesses that say they saw the murderer. There's no doubt anymore. Misharabu arotzchanim bat le'eger. Once murder became very common and open, then there was no egla rufa because everybody knew who the murderers were. Mishabah Eliezer ben Dinoy, Utchina ben Prisha, Haya Nikra, Chazru Likrosabo Haratzchan. These were famous murderers. They did not continue the egla rufa process. Similarly, when there were a lot of adulterers going around, the sotah waters didn't work. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai hifsika. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai stopped the
procedure.
Shnemer lo efkod ab noisechem ki tiznena v'al kolisechem ki na'afna kihim. Now, the Mishnah mentioned some things that were stopped. So Mishemes Yosef ben Yoezer ish tzreda. Yossi ben Yehuda Ish Yerushalayim Batlo HaEshkoloi. There was no more great people called Eshkolois, which the Gemara will explain what that is. Remember, Ein Eshkol Le'echol Bikura Ivsa Nafshi. Yochanan Kohen Gadol Hever Hoydai Samaiser. There was a process that when people would come to the base of English, they would do Vidu Meiser. Yochanan Kohen Gadol stopped that. Afu Bitel as a Mo'irim as a Noikvin. The Gemara will explain what that is. Ad Yom Vayapati Shma Keb Yushalayim. Until his time, blacksmith but he was mevatel that. Everyone gave meister, so there was no, in his time, there was no dmai, which is suffix whether trumas and meisters have been given. Toner Rabbana. Minayin shem nerfa egla, v'achach nimtza horig, she'ein potersus, that the murderer doesn't get off if he's found after the egla rufa. Talmud loymar, v'la aretz lo yichupar, ladam asher shupach ba'kim b'dam shavcho. The only atonement's going to be if the guy himself is put to death. Eid echad omer ra'isi asohirik. Now, that it didn't. There was a. We continued to do the Egel Arufa because another aid was Makhishim, went against him. Time at the Makishlei, which implies Halo Makishlei, aid Echad Mehemen, that he saw the murderer, and we would not do the Egel Arufa based on one aid. Minoan Amili. The Ton Rabbanan Lo Noda Mihi Kau. We don't know who the murderer is. Hanoida Mihi Kau, Filecha B'Sofoilim, Lo Yorfin. If one person in the world knows, there's no egla roof. Rabbi Kiva Omer min Island Sanhedrin Shiro Echad Shargas Nefesh. Sanhedrin saw a murder take place. Ve'ein makirin also, but they don't know who he is. But doesn't make a difference. Lo ayu orfin. Talmud Lomer ve'nenu lo ra'u. V'halo ro, they did see. They don't know who he is. So there was no egla rufa. Now, Hashadam say Echad Me'emen, if you tell me 1/8 is believed, Idich Chad Hechi Matzi Makishle. The Mishnah said that if another aid and said, you didn't see, how could there be a choshev Amar Ula? When the Torah believes one aid, it's as if there's two aid. If so, therefore, if one aid comes to be makhish, it shouldn't break it. In fact, Ula says you have to amend the Mishnah, and it says that if one aid came, and even if there was akosha, they would not do egla rufa because the Torah believes one aid in this kind of case, and therefore one against two, because it's considered two, it's therefore borer that we know the rotzech is, and there was no egla rufa. But Rav Chia Omer Tni Hayu Orfin. So how did Rav Chia or Rav Chia Kasha do? Loi Kasha, Kan Devasachas, Kan Dezechar Zeh. It depends if they came individually. The Mishnah talks about they came together. One of them said he saw, the other said he don't. There, the Adis is Mizbatel. And therefore we do Arufa. But when Ula says we're talking about an aid comes by himself, and then if the Sanhedrin accepts his aidus, then the second aid can't be makashit. Tanan. So let's continue learning the Mishnah. One aid says, I saw the Hayu Orfin, which implies Hachad V'chad, if there's only one that came against him, Lo Hayu Orfin. we're back again to the kasher of Chia. Ula tamei. If that's the way you want to learn, aim a sefer. Let's look at the sefer. Shnayim oimrim ra'inu. Ve'echad omer lo re'isem. We say lo ayu orphan, but if doing the same diuk, hachad v'chad hayu orphan. Ela masnisim kula b'psula edus. Our mission is not talking about an acceptable aid. We're talking about an isha, an eved. There we count how many people are against the one. Two women count against one man. If the man was pasul, it means if the original aid that came is a completely kosher aid, even 100 women, it's just one against one. The case was a woman came initially. A woman, two against one is that's one against one. Maybe we only count the democracy, count how many is against the other. That's Ba'akil. And not to bring the egla. Kamash Malon, that makes no difference, l'chumra or l'kum. Then Misharabu Aroitzchim, they got rid of the egla roof. Torah Bora. Misharabu Aroitzchanim Batlag La Roof, Olafishena Boal Al Sofik. And Misharabu Aroitzchim, Galui Batlag La Roof. Everybody knows who the murderers are. Misharabu Anoyafim, Ton Rabbanon, the Nika Ishme Avon. When does the Sotah water work? When the man is also without sin. Bisman sheish menukim elvan. Amayim bot kibesishto. Ein haish menukim elvan. And amayim bot kibesishto. If there's a lot of adultery going around. V'oimer lo efkod abnoi sechem kitiz nena. May v'oimer. Why did we need this extra pasuk? Chitema oven didei in. Fine. His sin, the waters don't work. The bonne would say lo. Maybe, what about his sons and daughters? Maybe that the Mayim Sotah would work. Toshma. Lo efkod abnosechem kitiz nena v'kolesim kinafna. That if they're sinners as well, also the waters don't work. Maybe the husband has to be guilty of adultery with a Neshes Ish, but maybe sleeping with a single girl with her, it's not kores lo toshma. Kihem imazoinois iparedu v'magdeshes zabehu. Mai va'am lo yavini lobit. Amar Abelazar. Amar lam navi liYisrael. Imatem magbinim al atzmechem. If you take care of yourself, mayim bod kineshasechem. But in love, if you're running around wild, ain't a mind, you won't have this benefit of the waters being able to check if your wives are clean or not. Misharabi baleano, people who get bribed. Nifsavzu adinim, you can't trust any din. V'niskalklu amaisim, people's actions were ruined. Ve'noch boilam, and there's no peace. Misharabu roye ponim badin. Because a person is rich or powerful, he affects the din. Botel losa guru. So the din of losa guru, and you're not going to be afraid of any people. That's going to go away. Uposak lotakiru. You won't have the benefit of losakiru panim b'mishpat. Uparku all shamayim, v'nosolem all basar v'dam. They have gotten rid of the yoke of heaven, and they'll be put under the yoke of a human being. Misharabu loishe lechishus badin. When people would give advice to the judges, Rabba Charanaf Yisrael, it led to anger. V'nistalka shchina. Yishum shener b'kervelu mishpat. And if there's no mishpat, the shchina can't stay there. Misharabu achrei bitzam liba molech. This has to do with paying bribes. Rabu ha'oimim l'rat tov la'tov ra. Then people would call good bad and bad good. Misharabu ha'oimim l'rat tov la'tov ra. Rabu hoi hoi ba'olam. People screaming because of tzaras, oy vai. Misharabu moshche harok. They act in a haughty fashion. Rabu, are you hearing people who put on airs? V'nismatu talmidim. V'atorach lezeres aloim deha. There's less talmidim. Everyone thinks that they know everything. And the Torah is looking for somebody who's going to learn it. Misharabu, are you hearing? When the haughty people got many, Yischilu b'nos Yisrael inosel hearing. The Jewish girls wanted to marry them. She'ein doreinu roya el alaponim. It just, the outward, the way people were outward is what the door followed. Whereas Zaini, v'amar hai man de miyair, somebody who acts in a haughty fashion, afilo anshe beiselo makabel. His own family won't accept him. Shenemar gever yair v'lo yinveh. Lo yinveh afil b'nover shelo, even in his own house. So ein chanami, mikora kaftzaleh. The girls jumped on them. Then they ran away from them. And they were mizalzel them. They created something that Balabatim had to pay the judges. More bribery and distortion of the din. Upaska toiva, there was no good anymore. Misharabu mekabli tovascha umachzgenu tovasecha. These were people who were understood that a toiva was being done to them, and I'm going to return a favor. Rabu Isha Yasher ben Avyasa. Shpalim Ugbu Vagvoim Ushpalu. The low were raised and the elevated were lowered. Umachusa Azla v'Nalvo. And Malchus Yisrael went away. Mishrabu Tsari Ayin, people were cheap. The Torfei Teref. People are trying to make a lot of profit. Rabu ma'amtze alei v'kotze yadayim elavios. People who pressurize people to force them to sell things. V'avro ma'ashakos v'ator yishar melacha. Mishrabu netuyas kor mishakos t'naim, that they held their throat high. Rabu mayim amorim. So this led to infidelity. But then there was no Mayim Sotah, Elisha Pasku, and they couldn't check. Misharabu Makabli Maton, normally people didn't want to accept gifts. When people started accepting gifts, Nismatu Ayomim Niskatsu Ashonim. The days got shorter, the years got longer. T'chsiv, for people, the Soni Matnos Yichya. Because people will live who hate grits.
I'm putting Ben to bed. Or are you teaching? Okay, bye.
No, keep him up.
Too tired.
No, let me talk to him. Ben, stay up, okay? Mishrabu Sluche Halei. They're haughty on the inside. Rabu Machlokes B'Yisrael. Mishrabu Talmidei Shammai v'Hillel shelo yishimshu kol tzorchan. The Talmidim of Shammai and Hillel didn't study enough. Rabbu Machlekes Yisrael. That's why they had Machlekes. The Nas is Torah Kishtei Torahs. Mishrabu Mekabli Tzedakah V'Anochim. When Jews started accepting tzedakah from Goyim, Yisrael Lamala V'Em Lamata. It's just the opposite. When we say it in a Lashon Nakiya, the Goyim are on the top and we're on the bottom. Yisrael Lefanim V'Em Lachor. They're in front and we're in the back. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll pick this up tomorrow.
Square, good
I never
Shabbos.
realized how long these blocks were at the end of Masechta